Hello and welcome to today's video. We are looking at Bee's Knees Lacquer Arcana today. My channel is very nearly at 100 subscribers. It might reach 100 by the time this video goes up. I truly thought no one would watch these videos. I was just sort of amusing myself with my videos. I was cataloging my nail polishes. You know, it's almost like I was just doing it for fun. It's a little bit of a creative outlet because I've always liked writing, and this lets me do a little bit of that. And now I know people are watching these, and I feel sort of weird about it. Up to now, the process was a bit like talking to myself, which I talk to myself anyway. I also talk to the chipmunks. I don't record that, so you don't think I'm totally crazy, but nonetheless, they are talked to. So are the squirrels and the birds and just about anything else. Most of my subscribers are here for the chipmunks, which are the shorts, so in a way this is all a moot point. I don't really speak in those, and the chipmunks are just pure enjoyment because they're tiny and fast and adorable and precocious. I doubt the shorts could affect anyone negatively unless they truly hate chipmunks for some reason. And then they could just not watch them and it would all be fine. But for the nail videos, I do feel a sense of responsibility. Selling nail polish is a livelihood for the makers, and I don't want to put that at risk. That's not what I'm here for. The good part is that because I bought all of these polishes, I genuinely like them. I don't have to feign any kind of sense of enjoyment. That also doesn't mean I attribute fake sentiments to other YouTubers. That's not what that means. It just was something I thought about before I ever started making these videos and posting them. What would I do if I ever encountered the problem of needing to post about a nail polish I did not like? I have bought polishes I was disappointed in, but that is a video for another day. Oh, that is a very roundabout way of saying thank you for watching, but I also have weird feelings about it. Meanwhile, you've been watching me put on the first coat of Arcana, and as you can see, in this lighting, it looks like a red base with a purple stripe. It's not quite true. The background is a multichrome, and like most multichromes, it just does not look good in one coat. I've yet to meet a multichrome that is a one-coater. I do not expect that. 2 or 3 is usually the norm. I think I could have gotten away with 2 coats. But as you might be able to see, I'm not quite holding the magnet right, and I didn't notice at the time. So my second coat goes on and my stripe doesn't quite match the diagonal of my other fingers, and I did want to fix that. So I do go in for a third coat, really just to fix where the magnetic line is. I think I could have stopped after 2. I suppose the one thing I would want to direct your attention towards is how opaque the very tip of my nail is, because I find with multichromes, the pigment sort of recedes back from the tip of the nail, and so I try to be very careful when I cap the tip on the second coat, but I still feel like that's the one place that if you were dissatisfied with that, you would definitely want that third coat regardless. Getting back to talking about making videos in general though, I have been really enjoying replying to comments. I don't get to talk to people in my everyday life about nail polish, so getting to chat with you guys about it is really nice, which may seem antithetical to the idea of that I just was talking to myself or that I feel very weird about this, but I'm just confusing as a person. So yeah, I'm really enjoying comments. I suppose I should actually talk about the polish we're swatching though. I just really loved the look of that purple stripe against the red so much. I didn't originally grab this polish because I saw some footage that made the background look primarily brown, and I absolutely did not want that. Now that I see the polish in person, it totally makes sense because the background is a multichrome. It rolls between a dingy orangey brown that seems somewhere between a copper and a sienna, and then it rolls over into sort of a rusty red, and then it hits sort of a perfect rose red occasionally as well. If I'm honest, I never would have bought this if it were just a multichrome, but that magnetic purple line makes this polish for me. Now that I've finished that third coat, you can see that any trouble with the pigment receding from the end of the nail, that has covered up. Now I have to figure out what kind of color I think this is. Maybe I need a category for multichromes in my spreadsheet. This polish doesn't really remind me of anything in the natural world very well, except for the rufous hummingbird. It's a bit of a riot of rusty reds and oranges, but no purple stripe. And I was only thinking of hummingbirds in the first place because the polish on my other hand reminds me of the throat feathers of an Anna's hummingbird. Sadly, I've never actually seen either of those hummingbirds in person, but hey, as the planet warms, maybe Canada will have more types of hummingbird. And sharks, it's a mixed bag. If we start getting bull sharks here in rivers, I am never going in the water again. Swimming will just be dead to me. I'll even probably start side-eyeing indoor pools. And now we're going into the sunshine shots. This footage is a little unfair because it took 2.5 days for the sun to appear. And I have a little tip where, but even when the manicure was fresh, there were places at my tips in 2 coats where my ridges showed through just a little. I do find this happens with any multichrome pigment. It's not specific to this nail polish. As I'm raising my fingers, you can see that sort of copper, sort of sienna color, that brownish orange. And as I swing my hand over to the right, we can see that it'll go into a red with almost a black in the background. In my opinion, the color of the magnetic stripe really doesn't change very much. I'm just pretty consistently seeing a slightly bluish purple color, the dreaded blurple. I am of course drawn to a cobalt, to an ultramarine, to an indigo, like a moth to a flame, so of course I love this color. And in just a second we're going to move into the shade shot, which is technically not in the shade, it's just on a cloudy day, so the sun is obscured, and I'm standing under the eaves trough so I don't get rained on. But this is much earlier in the week. This is directly after the manicure was done, so you can see what the tips of my fingers actually look like here. You can see too that the magnetic stripe does transform a little bit in the shade. It goes from being that more indigo color into a magenta. It takes on some reddish tones. There are some points where I think near my cuticle line, it does look as if there might be a slight green tinge, but I'm pretty sure that's my tree reflecting in the polish again, so I would not count on ever seeing that particular shift, unless you also happen to be underneath a tree. In my opinion as well, the multichrome has not changed its tones a great deal here. I think once you see this inside, you'll see some bigger changes, but I think the difference from sunlight to the cloudy conditions isn't remarkable. And indoors, you can really see how deep that red is, how it looks as if it has sort of a black background. The magnetic stripe is very much the indigo color. And as I move over towards my left and towards the window a little bit more, you're going to see much more of that sienna color. And it's even going to flip into almost like a chartreusey brown, and we'll get the magenta aspect of that magnetic stripe again. I only noticed the difference in the magnetic stripe on reviewing the footage, so it's nice to see that it's there. I think if you like a shifty polish, this definitely would check some boxes for you. And that is everything for today. This is also the end of my new Bee's Knees purchases. I hope you have enjoyed looking at this polish. Please enjoy some footage of my overheated squirrels. I know this looks ridiculous. It's through a window and a screen, but I have double sploot. It's so hot outside. I feel so bad for them, but double sploot.
You know it's hot when.
Oh, one almost stood up, but nope, the sploot must continue.